What's going on, everyone? So, Sidney Prescott's back. It's going to be a movie centered around Sidney Prescott. Based on the rumors, again, take the rumors with a grain of salt, but based on the rumors, this film is supposed to be kind of split. You're going to have Sidney Prescott, and then you have a new cast, a new group of targets for Ghostface, and then chaos will ensue. And my thing is like, okay, what approach are they going to take with this upcoming Scream 7? Right? And how are they going to tell a updated Sidney story? One of the things that I touched on was, in a previous video, which go check that video out, was that I don't want the same old rhetoric and rehash. Right? I don't want the killer to be related to Sidney again. I don't want some story that's like, okay, like we get it, right? Like I want some creativity, and I don't even care if the target is Sidney. Again, Sidney is any Ghostface's white whale, right? Like they want to kill her, right? Because she is the final girl. She's the one that every Ghostface has failed to take out. So, I mean, you could keep it even just simple as that. Simplicity sells, right? And to me, in a lot of ways, let's get back to basics here. But another big thing is like, where is this going to take place? Right? And how are they going to approach this upcoming Scream 7? Is it going to be Scream 7? Like, is it going to be, basically Sam, Tara, they are whatever, abroad or whatever and living their best life, and that's that. And you got this new group that's being targeted in Sidney Prescott, or maybe Ghostface is closer to home for Sidney, and we know that the core four and everybody's in New York, so it's a good distance, and maybe Sidney even tries to like hit him up and can't get word to them or something, right? It's just because you would imagine that they would want to go help her like she helped them, right? Or would they kind of just be, tough, right? Like life sucks, right? Sid, good luck to you. Like, I just don't think that would be the case. So you're going to have to go through a level of explanation. Right? If you're going to have this be a Scream 7. If you're going to make this a continuation to the previous stories and kind of continue this timeline, which, I know a lot of people don't want like a Halloween where you basically need a diagram to figure out what's what and where it connects to what and how is this. And like, I do agree with that. And the beauty of Scream is you don't really ever need that. The beauty of Scream is that it's not a Michael Myers. It's not a Freddy Krueger. It's not something to where as soon as that person is done, that's it. Like, now what? Oh, well, now we got a retcon. Now we got to make a remake. Now we got to whatever, right? Or we got to pick up from a different film, right? And so to me, it would be great to kind of continue the continuity, but given the circumstances, I don't think anybody would really like bat an eyelash. The casual audience, which is, like I always say, is the large majority, they're not going to care because it's a custom, right? You just kind of expect at some point there's going to be this branch off. And so I don't think from the casual general audience, it would make a big difference. Obviously to us diehards and us Scream fans, it would be a little frustrating, but how do you continue on given the circumstances without having to have a bunch to explain, or you just kind of ignore it? You just kind of brush it over. Again, you could do kind of a one-liner thing where it's like, I can't get a hold of Sam and Tara, like, can you get, oh, sorry, I have no idea where they're at, right? But to me, it just feels like, really, it's just, they're a stone throw away. You were able to track them down last time. So it's just, how do you explain that? I don't hate the idea of just that being, like, 5 and 6 kind of being its own thing. And maybe picking up where Scream 4 left off. So you make Scream 7 basically Scream 5, and it's a continued Sidney story. I know Scream 4 was kind of more a Jill story, but Sidney was the main target. Sidney was the goal, right? Jill wanted to take her out. That she wanted to be the new Sidney Prescott. And so to me, it's like you could just basically say, hey, 5 and 6 were the radio silence films. And I know that they're going to be on as like executive producers and whatnot, but this is going to be directed by Kevin Williamson. You could have like this be the continuation of like the Kevin timeline. So 5 and 6 were their own thing that were fun, different, but now we're back in line with the Scream 4, 5, and 6. And like you could even pick up a new trilogy if you wanted to on that. Because originally Scream 4 was supposed to be the launch of other films. And then Wes's passing and they never picked it back up. But it's like now you could potentially do that and have Scream 7 be Scream 5 and tie in directly into Scream 4 and kind of have this continuation to where it's like, okay, Jill's done. You could even bring Kirby back if you want. Dewey could still be alive if you wanted to do that. And again, you have 5 and 6 kind of be its own thing. The only problem with kind of, I guess, retconning 5 and 6 would be that Gail was in both and Sidney was in 5. So it's kind of like, but they weren't the story, right? They were kind of the background characters. I mean, Scream 5 didn't even really need Sidney in the film. Like, what did Sidney do in the film that somebody else couldn't have done, or Gail couldn't have done, or Mindy? I mean, we knew Mindy was still alive. She could have came and saved the day. And even the things that Sidney did, like putting the tracker on, I mean, she even says herself that she got that from Gail. Like, that's a Gail Weathers thing, right? So you could have had Gail do that. To me, it was just kind of, Sidney was in the movie in a lot of ways just for namesake and just to kind of have her in the movie, which was fine. I'm not going to complain about Sidney being in the movie, but it just felt very lackluster. It felt like we could have really done without her. And then they made Scream 6 without her, and it was fine. Like, it didn't feel, oh, Sidney had to be in this film. It was totally okay. Even people that were like, oh, Scream isn't Scream without Sidney, were all even kind of like, yeah, okay, like, I guess it worked out. And so, and even Gail, I mean, in Scream 6, what was the point of Gail? Gail did nothing in Scream 6. Even discovering the shrine, we know Dermot Mulroney's character, Detective Bailey, he was the one that said himself that he was going to reveal the shrine. So I do think you could kind of just like, hey, these were kind of its own thing. This was fun. Pick up from Scream 4 or pick up from Scream 3. Because even now, Scream 4 is kind of always been its own thing. Like, it didn't really tie into 5 or 6. It didn't have like these like major mentions. We don't know necessarily what happened in the aftermath after Jill. You could start a new trilogy and just go 1, 2, 3, pick up after 3 and go 4, 5, 6. And it's, again, the Kevin Williamson saga, right? So you got these 6 films with Sidney, with Gail, with Dewey. Mark Kincaid's involved because you got Sidney and Mark. You could even keep some of this, like the kids and stuff. Like you could keep that route and just tell a new story with the core characters from the original 3 films. And then you introduce some new characters and have this new kind of buy-in. I mean, Dewey and Gail could still be married. They could be happily fine with Sidney and Mark happily married and fine. They hang out. Maybe they all live together in Chicago or Woodsboro. Maybe she moved back to Woodsboro or something, right? Whatever. You could just have that conversation and they're still a friend group and hanging out. It's the 4 of them. And now you got this new friend group I think you could do a lot. I mean, you could even tell a Sidney kid story, right? Like if you did that, depending on, because if you picked up from Scream 3, her kids would be in high school, right? My timing is correct. So, also depends on when she had kids, but you could make it make sense. So, to me, it's like, why not pick up and maybe have that be the case, right? Could you tell a convincing trilogy or kind of pick up from Scream 3, which Kevin Williamson was a part of Scream 4 also, but you get my point, right? I don't hate that idea. Obviously, again, you got to make a good movie. You got to have good execution. But I don't know. And also, I might just make a video about like her kids, because Scream 3 came out in what, 2000? Talking 24 years. Like, even if she didn't have kids right away, she could have waited 8 years to have kids and they'd be 16 now. So, just a thought. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Would you be down for kind of a retcon of 5 and 6, pick up from 3 and 4? Do you think, no way, you got to have the continued timeline? Don't mess that up. Keep the continuity. Never feel what your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me to enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Now, channel, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.